there. So I think it's a time that you're working really hard in order to build yourself, to fail, to build stuff, and then at some point you will see that once you cross that level, you're to the next level, everything is much easier. I want to change the world, and if I can't manage to do that, at least I want to change my small corner of it.
Thank you, Stylianos, for being today with us in this podcast.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, I have a great story about you that you probably don't know. When I attended last year the Reflect Festival, I was so excited, and I was talking with my friend Vasilis. Hey, this festival is so nice. I had such a good time going there. Who is organizing? And he said, it's one guy. His name is Stylianos. And actually, this guy, 10 years ago, I met him by mistake in a coffee shop. I went there to study, and I was studying for my ACCA exams, and this guy was sitting next to me. And he was asking me, what am I doing? I told him I'm studying for my ACCA exams, and he was like, why are you doing that? Go, man, do something new. Create something. Yeah. You need to create a business. You need to do something new. And this was, 10 years ago. Yeah. And here we are today.
Very interesting. I also remember the cafe that was going there and working.
Yeah.
So, yeah, most probably. It sounds like me. Sounds like me 10 years ago.
So like a preacher going out and saying people, no, you have to become an entrepreneur. You have to create a business.
I think back then I didn't even know what an entrepreneur is, but from very young age I was always motivated. I had this urge to create things and build things, and many times I was taking the road that most people don't take also during my time at school. And I think this is what entrepreneurship is all about, to take the road less traveled and do things differently and don't follow the crowd. And
when was your first venture?
So my first venture, was like more of a hobby, I would say. It was at around the age of 11 to 12 years old, where what I was doing, I was copying the news of the newspapers of Cyprus, and I was building a website. And back then we didn't have any online media, like we're talking now 20 years ago. So I had this idea, and I got quite nice traction. And I remember some of some family friends, they also gave me some advertisement. And back then they didn't even believe or didn't even know what the internet is all about. Okay. So that was my first venture, like when I was at that age.
How was the reaction of, being so young, doing different things and not following the crowd? How was the reaction of the people around you, your friends at your age? Because I guess that's quite different. People usually try to point you out or tell you this will not work, do something normal.
Yes, I think everyone has the same experience when he's trying to do something new. I knew from very young age that I wanted to build something by myself. My motivation again wasn't the financial upside, but mostly was to build something, because I feel that, as I told you, I had this urge to create things and build stuff. But I've seen this more when I went to university. I studied in London, and then I did also a postgraduate. And when I came back during the crisis of 2013 to 2014, at the time that everyone, wanted to leave the island. Yeah. But I really saw this opportunity. I really wanted to come back to Cyprus to contribute. But I think when also there's crisis, there's also opportunities, and you can build many things. So
value creating an impact is what are your main drivers?
Yeah, I think my main motivations, as I told you, is intrinsic. Like that's how it starts. Of course, like it's important to also have the financial upside, to make money, for the company to be sustainable. But in all of my ventures, it's I think they're impact driven, and this is the main drive. And I think the main drive of all entrepreneurs is that.
Which one of your ventures are you more proud of?
Yes, I don't want to be unfair, because I also want to say that I have a very rich CV in failures. And I'm also proud of of my failures.
Can you take us through the CV of failures? That sounds very
interesting. Well, I mean, I started, my first real venture. Actually, I got quite lucky, and it became, it was quite sustainable project. I was going around the villages of Cyprus. I came up with this project called the Village Express, and I wanted to showcase the best of Cyprus, and I chose the villages because in Cyprus you have 256 villages. I've been to over 150 of them, and I built a portal where you could virtually walk through the churches, the streets of the villages, and each village had its own profile, uploading their news, announcements. So that was my first company, and I convinced basically the presence of the villages. I persuaded them about the power of the internet, and they were paying a subscription per year. And that project led to Heart Cyprus, which was a destination brand. Me and a friend, we were managing a Facebook page, but then with my sister also, she came on board, and we co-founded the brand of Heart Cyprus, which is a destination brand. And in a matter of a year, we grew the biggest online community about Cyprus with over 300,000 followers on Facebook and Instagram. This was back in 2013. And then we had a media company that we were approaching the different businesses, and we're trying to convince them about the power of social media. I remember I was going to hotels and I was telling them about Facebook, and they were telling me, what is Facebook? And they were very reluctant to register a Facebook page. And
today Facebook is obsolete. Facebook is too old, just 10 years.
Yes, exactly. And for me, I think there's the definition of technology as well. I believe fire used to be technology. When technology becomes mainstream, then it's not a technology anymore. I mean, automobile, like the cars, at some point they were technology, but now it's something we're using every single day. Also the internet, and it's something we see now with AI. It's a technology, it's something disruptive that hasn't gone yet mainstream, or maybe it's in the process going. You
described your ventures before, but to me sounded very successful. I don't see the
wait.
Wait for it.
Yes, building up. Yes, but for each venture, there are so many failures along the way. Maybe it sounds okay, we built this Facebook page, but there's a lot of struggles, a lot of things that we did wrong, and I believe the only way to learn and improve is by doing things, and not just planning. Do them, fail, and then do them again. And and then during my university time, because when I was building Heart Cyprus and the media company, I was still a student in London. I started my first startup. It was called Social Airways. I don't know if you heard about this project.
No.
So basically,
I think I heard about. Was it that it was like you get like miles and you can travel with your friends and go to events, something like that?
So it was part of my
idea.
So basically, we've built a platform that you could book flights like Skyscanner, but we had one extra feature. You could see who is on the same flights with you. So you can use that connection to, let's say, share the taxi. I mean, Uber was at its early days back then. We got quite nice traction. We got over 60,000 users. People were using it. Also, we had an online passport where you could add your flights and you could see how many miles you have traveled, how many countries. It was
like a social network.
Yeah, it was a social network. People were sharing their online passport. Okay. We're talking now about like 10 years ago. And also we raised some money, but eventually that venture didn't make it because it was really hard to monetize it. We had a business model to work with airports. It was really difficult, the penetration
into the
airport. It was a very slow process, and eventually it failed. And I think that was my biggest failure, because also I have raised some money, I had investors. And then
what was the biggest lesson though?
The biggest lesson is that you need to move very fast, and you need to find products that you can start monetizing as soon as possible, or to be at the right place. Because if I was, let's say, in the Silicon Valley, I mean, the mindset and the education of the investors there, they will invest even more in order to grow the company up to a specific point. For example, Uber, everyone's investing in Uber, and they hope that one day self-driving cars will be introduced, and then like Uber will win big. And I think this is also what entrepreneurship is all about. You're bleeding every single day, but when you win big.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this and back then, because I was in Europe, it was much more difficult to convince investors to continue investing in the project.
Was that your startup? When was it? When you were in university?
Yes, it was in 2014,
Okay.
2013. It failed. It was during when I was building also the media company, also reinvesting the profits of the media company into that project myself.
Okay.
So I had a lot of skin in the game as well.
Yeah.
And then after it failed, I wanted to take a break. So after I finished also my studies at UCL, where I studied IT, I went for a postgraduate degree at Cambridge. It was entrepreneurship, and I don't believe you can teach entrepreneurship. But anyways, I went there. It was a quite
At least you will meet people that wanted to become entrepreneurs. So
exactly, because that course actually was designed for people who are building their own companies, for entrepreneurs. And there I met my co-founder at Reflect Festival, and also really good friends. So it was a great experience. It was completely two different worlds. I mean, UCL, it's a much more open university, different, let's say, culture. Cambridge, completely different culture. But I think I learned quite interesting lessons from both worlds. And after that, was 2014 to 15. I came back to Cyprus for good.
What made you make the trip to the east and not to the west? You're in London, studied in two prestigious universities, UCL, Cambridge. You raised funds. You had a startup. You had failed in a startup. Americans love failures. Why you didn't go to Silicon Valley?
I wanted to come back to my country. The love for Cyprus, and I think we're hardwired to come back home. Eventually, I think home is where your heart is, and my heart is here in Cyprus, and that's why I put all of my passion, all of my love, and all of my heart in the things I'm doing here. And it was a very easy decision for me. I wasn't even thinking about it. I mean, also the course I did at UCL was designed by companies like Oracle, Microsoft, etc. And all of my classmates, they went to San Francisco. They had their jobs, and I also got multiple of offers. But I wanted to come back home, and I just want you to remember how Cyprus was back time. It was really negative. And then many people, they were saying, "Why you came back? You had these opportunities, But I came back and I continued working on my media company.
Hard Cyprus.
Yes, it was called. Hard Cyprus was a non-profit project. We were doing it for Cyprus, and then we had a media company. It was called back then Checkmart Media. That we were working with different businesses on the island, because also we were one of the first adopters of social media back then. And
Was it because you said all of your peers and colleagues went to Silicon Valley, you came back to Cyprus? Was it, and I think a lot of professionals, we are teased by that, because Cyprus is a relatively young country. The ecosystems are on very infantile stage, even startups ecosystem we see now is starting, or investors now they're coming to the island. Was it luring for you that you will come, you will find nothing and build and have a great impact?
Yes.
Was it
you reminded me in my yearbook at school, we had one section that was our vision, and my ambition. I wrote something like, I want to change the world, and if I can't manage to do that, at least I want to change my small corner of it, of my world.
Yeah.
And in that case, it's our country, and I think everyone should think similarly. So when I came back because I also had my media company. I wanted to be here because also in Cyprus it feels home, and because I lived in the UK, I remember, like even now I take my car every single day. I drive on the seaside road. I take my coffee. So it's like I really love this lifestyle, and I think Limassol offers something between a very big city and a small city.
Yeah.
It's like I have friends who are visiting, and when I ask them how many people do you think are living in Limassol, they tell me 2 million. 1.5 million, because it has this feeling.
This vibrant vibe, cosmopolitan vibe.
Yes. And then whatever, because I always like to be broke, because I think this is how you stay hungry and you continually innovate. So whatever profits we're making, also with my sister, we started investing heavily in real estate, and we started our first investment in Limassol and Athens in 2015. It was a really good time. Back then, I didn't know many things about real estate. I was led by my intuition, because I really believed in my city, and also I saw the potential in Athens. So we did some investments. Along the way, we had few exits, meaning that we bought something, then we sold it to someone else, and this is how we accelerated the growth of our portfolio. And currently, we have 15 projects in the heart of Limassol, which all of the projects are in diameter of 500 meters, and 2 projects in Athens. And all these projects are quite strategically positioned, and we do boutique hotels, some commercial spaces, but mainly focusing on short-term accommodation projects. And what we do, I call it meaningful real estate. Personally, I don't like development. I like to build projects that are quite meaningful also for the community. Also, development projects.
Also the identity.
Yes, when I say development, I mean building just let's say one building and selling it and move to the next one.
Yeah.
However, we have really impactful development projects around the island, and we invest a lot in listed buildings. It's really hard.
Listed buildings means the ones that you cannot change
their
identity.
Yes, that
right?
they need to be preserved. And for example, one small boutique hotel, which we call it Heart Hotel, will be finishing in the next 15 days. It took us 4 years to get the planning permission and 18 months to renovate it. So we're talking about over 5 years from the day you buy it.
Purchase it.
Yes, and this is in the investment world. You understand that your IRR also is lowered because of this waiting time. However, we really are passionate about these projects. We like to preserve our heritage, and personally, I think these buildings and also the old city will be the area that will be the appreciation will be much higher than any other area in Limassol. So this is our activity in real estate. And basically, I have created a holding company, which is called the Heart Group. And we have different activities from the real estate, hospitality, to technology, to events that we're going to discuss later. But maybe here I would like to share with you why we call it the Heart Group.
Okay.
So it's based on a principle of the 3 H's. And also, if you see our logo, you can identify 3 H's. The first H stands for the head, because with the head is your judgment, is your knowledge, your skills, your logic, and it's a really important, let's say, ingredient of being an entrepreneur. The second one is the heart, because I believe the heart symbolizes that you love what you do. It's your passion, it's your intuition, and is your motivation as well. So the second one is the heart, and the third one is your hand, because with your hand you can give back, but at the same time you can support someone by lift him up, and you can also shape things with your hands. And we came up with the name heart because the heart is the most dominant out of the 3, because without the heart, without the passion, the love, you can't use your head, you can't use your hand. And also metaphorically, but also literally, you can do that, because the heart is the vital organ of our body that pumps, like blood. And this is how we came with the name Heart Group. And I think these 3 words articulate the meaning of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs are using their head, they're smart guys, they have specific skills, they use their heart, they're intrinsically motivated to change the world, to build things that are meaningful. And the third one is giving back, is the hand. The giving back is the impact. And I think this is the the version of entrepreneurs that exists today versus the business people that existed 30 years ago. That's why I have hope in people who are building OpenAI, like Google and all the other technology companies, because I believe their motivation is intrinsic rather than a businessman back in 70s and wanted to just make money. And
do you think Cypriot people are entrepreneurs? Do we have this entrepreneurial spirit?
Yes, I think we have the entrepreneurial gene, but we don't have the mindset. I think as Cypriots we're quite smart and we can adapt fast. And I think we all have seen it. I mean, we have so many people.
The war.
Yeah, I mean, we've been
resilient.
We also in London. I mean, like in the UK, in the US, like
Migrants.
where we go to these countries. I mean, we build things, but at the same time,
in the Gulf countries, the Cypriot companies
exactly.
built the.
I think we're very entrepreneurial, but it's not enough. You need to be in the right environment. Like it's if you put like a seed in a jungle, you need like so many other parameters in order to grow that seed and make it a tree. Is the rain, is the sun, and many more. So.
So what is missing? What is missing then in this environment in Cyprus?
Yes, so I think it's improving a lot. Like from the past few years, I believe because we had war, like back in the 70s, the generation of our parents, they were seeking more security. That's why everyone was encouraging their kids to go and work for the public sector, which is a very secure sector, which is fully anti-entrepreneurial. Then we had the trends, of studying accounting, and law, etc., which nothing wrong about it, because even now these skills are needed in the technology sector. And then we had the now we're living in times that we're encouraging our kids to become engineers, designers, etc.,
developers.
However, I think we should encourage more people to become entrepreneurs. And when I say that, I don't think entrepreneurship is for everyone. But everyone can be 10% entrepreneur or 20% entrepreneur. I think what you're doing here is quite entrepreneurial, because and you need the right mindset to create this project, right? And yes, and I will encourage everyone to think more entrepreneurial, to have this because what entrepreneurship is, it has specific traits that just being an employee doesn't have it. For example, entrepreneurs, they're quite accountable. And if you're working in an organization, you increase your accountability, then you'll become the CEO eventually of the organization. But if you're working in a company for 20 years, doing the same thing, there's no progress. For me, when I see CVs and there's one person with 15 years experience, it's the same thing as 1 year experience.
Yeah.
I prefer to have someone that has 15 years experience in 15 different things than someone that has experience in one thing for 15 years.
Yeah. I love what you're saying, but I want to ask you more of a personal question. You describe, we didn't go to Reflect yet, the story of Reflect, but you describe all these ventures along the way, your belief in Cyprus and in entrepreneurship. And I know also from experience that entrepreneurship is also hard, right? So there's a lot of risk, lots of doubt from people around you, lots of self-doubt as well through your failures and all of that. So take us through the tough times and the emotions during this journey, building all this different stuff at the same time, trying to stay, as you said, also broke to get yourself motivated.
I mean, it's a roller coaster. There's so many. I mean, there's also a lot of self-doubt, but the most important thing is that you continue to not stop, to not give up. Yeah. Because I think, as I told you before, the failures are helping you to eventually make it one day. It's difficult. Also, it's affecting your mental health, I believe. Yeah. Also, you do a lot of sacrifices, and many people don't understand this in your, let's say, inner circle. And I think it affects all aspects of your life. And you need to have a balance. Like some people, like Elon Musk, he believes in working 20 hours a day. Yeah. But personally, I don't believe that. Like also, Nowadays, I sleep 8 hours. You know,
I think he recently said something different on
good,
Twitter. Yeah, he said, "I realize now that this doesn't work, and I have to
Yes.
sleep at least 7 hours."
Yes, I think entrepreneurs, including Elon Musk, but he's doing so many things, is that with less input, they get more output. And I think this is what entrepreneurship is all about. Entrepreneurship is doing to reach the maximum output with the least resources.
By leveraging on people, on code, on capital.
Exactly. I think that's the definition also of entrepreneurship, and that's why big organizations, they can spend millions and hundreds of millions in a specific, let's say, to build a product, and a startup can build it with, like with much more limited resources. I think also now with AI, things will become even easier, let's say, because back 20 years ago, to build $1 billion company, you needed thousands of employees. A few years ago, WhatsApp and also like Instagram was sold to Facebook for $1 billion with just 14 employees.
Crazy.
And I think with AI, with just 2-3 people, you'll be able to build $1 billion company. Yeah. So and this I think just like explains why. Entrepreneurs need to work smarter and work with that principle of less input, more output.
While we're talking about the failures and the emotions and the roller coaster emotions going through Stylianos' ventures and entrepreneurial journey, I saw recently something on LinkedIn and I really liked it. It was when Tom Hanks. They were making the movie of Forrest Gump. Everybody knows this amazing and film with so many awards. And then at that famous park bench where Tom Hanks sits there with the chocolates, he stopped and said to the director, "Hey Bob, is anybody going to care about this movie? I don't think anybody's going to care." Yeah. And then he told him, "It's a minefield, Tom. You never know what's good. It's a minefield. It's a goddamn minefield. You may be sowing the seeds of our own destruction." And then when they asked him what's the best memory of all this career that you had, he said about this moment, because, we all know how this film got so popular and, skyrocketed his career as an actor. And then like the life lesson about that, it was that famous quote of Forrest Gump, who said, "Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get." Yeah. So entrepreneurship, value creating, impact, you have to trust the process. You have to believe in the process, and you have to focus on what you're doing at the moment. Yes. If you are thinking what other people think, if it's gonna work, if it's not gonna work, and all that have actually no meaning at all.
I always give this example that it should feel effortless. Personally, when I go to the gym, I don't enjoy it. I put a lot of effort, but I'm not enjoying it at all. But when I play a sport, let's say football or basketball, I put maybe even more effort because I'm also quite competitive, but it feels effortless. Yeah. I don't know, like if you have experienced this. I guess yes. So I think that's what entrepreneurship is all about. I don't feel like it's a job, like it's like more of a game, and you are enjoying playing that, that game.
I think what's also for young people watching this and they want to start their own company. There is a moment at entrepreneurship that you work a lot without seeing results. So when there is a momentum, it's easy to keep going. So like for yourself, it's easy to open another company and come up with new ideas because some of it worked and it's worked very well. But for the young people who started something, they failed, now they're disappointed, or they are working on their business for 3 months and they don't see the desirable results. It's very hard to keep going. Yes, you don't see the.
You just reminded me one idea that I was studying at university. That is in business. There is one thing called crossing the chasm.
Like the valley of despair.
Yes,
or something.
but for me, I will explain using that idea about entrepreneurship, because in order to cross that chasm, right, you need to. They describe it as a D-Day. So, for example, when you want to launch a product, you need to put all of your resources, all of your efforts into that product to take it to the market, right? Yeah. And I think with entrepreneurship, like especially when you're young in your early 20s, you need to put all of that effort the same way that in Second World War II, the Allies, they like on D-Day, they put all of their resources and efforts there. So I think it's a time that you're working really hard in order to build yourself, to fail, to build stuff, and then at some point you will see that once you cross that level, you're to the next level, everything is much easier. And I think entrepreneurship, it has infinite levels, infinite chasm. I know the Greek word chasma. I don't know in English how it's chasma thing,
Gap.
So yes, a gap. So there's like infinite levels, and you just need to go to the next level. I feel that if I lose everything right now, every single thing, I'm very confident I can build everything again.
Because you played the levels.
Yes, exactly. It's like you play like a video game and you have this learning curve.
And you know how to go there.
Yes, you have this learning curve, but and now...
If you lose all your lives...
Yes, now I'm in the level, I don't know, 32, but I know that that game is an infinite gameplay. It never ends. And you just play it because you enjoy it, and it's up to you which level you want to reach. Some people, they want to reach up to level 5, and that's fine, Some people, they want to take it to the 1 million, like 1 millionth level.
At the end of the day, you control the efforts and not the results.
Yes.
And I think if you follow the Stoic philosophy, the only thing you cannot affect things outside your control.
Yeah.
So just do what you like, do what you love, and...
Yes, I really like this idea, and like I was talking to you previously, before our podcast, that podcast is it's a self-development tool, right? Also because myself, I'm not native in English. Whenever I participate podcast, I am improving also my English. I listen to other podcasts. I add more words in my vocabulary, but also we come with ideas, and I think this idea of the levels is quite interesting and something that we contributed together, and
maybe the academics at Cambridge will write a paper about it.
Also, I love the podcast. I imagine if every time you talk about someone or a subject, you do that with the possibility that all the world can see it.
Yes, exactly.
If you do that enough, many times, I think you become a better person. In general, that you trying to give positive, you feeling you're being watched all the time, you try to be careful, so that's very
I think
important.
with the podcast, because if we didn't have these microphones here or the cameras, we will just exchange some ideas, and but now these ideas are recorded for other people. It can be replayed. Also, eventually, our kids will watch this one day.
Exactly.
When in 1,000 years ago they were sitting Socrates and all these
I hope they had the cameras and the microphones.
Imagine they had everything.
Yes.
Okay. Now I think we're towards the end of your story, your journey. I think we didn't talk about the Reflect Festival.
Yeah, so maybe I can accelerate that. I don't know how much time we have, but like also in my group we have this technology part that we have few ventures there. In some of the ventures we're investing, some of those we're building them internally. One of the let's say flagship company, we're building the government for the municipalities of Cyprus. And the third category of hard group is what I call it impact, are things like Reflect Festival, which is the largest tech event that's happening in Cyprus, but now is becoming one of the biggest in region. I co-founded with my sister and my good friend Dusan Dufek from Slovakia that we studied together. And through Reflect, we also co-founded with Dusan Techisland, which is a non-profit organization which represents over 300 tech companies based on the island. And our main our vision, our mission with Techisland is to accelerate the growth of the tech ecosystem. We have been working with the government. We introduce a lot of incentives to help the sector to grow. The organization has donated over 4 million euro in different initiatives on the island, including crisis relief and many more. And on our board, we have founders and CEOs of multiple of tech companies based on the island. So that's my CV But yeah, this is my CV at level 32. So I have other plans in the next to reach the next levels. And this is my drive. I really like also building profitable ventures in order to build more things.
Yeah.
I think that's my main motivation. I really enjoy that.
You will always be broke. We understand that.
Yes, exactly. Reinvesting everything, and I think entrepreneurs are the people who are in the arena. Are the people who are fighting. They're people who are failing, and are the people who are bringing the change.
What does uncertainty mean to you?
Uncertainty sounds like it ignites my curiosity. I think when you're curious, you're seeking for uncertainty. You want to see what's gonna happen. It's like if you watch Netflix. I mean, they always have this uncertainty element in the end of every episode, and this is what drives people to do it. More. But when it's on Netflix, it's easy to enjoy that feeling. But when you're in real world, uncertainty is scary. For me, I'm not scared at all in uncertainty in business. I'm quite, frightened sometimes in uncertainty in different things. That I can't control. With business, you can't control things. It's your own decisions. But for example, for the future of our country, you can control it up to a certain level.
Yeah.
You said something about entrepreneurs being curious before, and I think curiosity is fundamental characteristic of an entrepreneur. At the same time, confidence is very important.
Yeah.
And I think I said it in another podcast. I saw an amazing documentary saying truth, confidence is living in uncertainty.
Yeah.
So the curious entrepreneurs who are passionate and chasing uncertainty are the confident ones who are going to be successful and have great impact.
I think some of them are confident, some others are not confident. I mean, they learn how to become confident. I believe, also the best entrepreneurs I've ever met, there were a lot of insecurity, and I think also in my company, because when you hire someone who's super confident, maybe he doesn't want to prove himself, and when someone is more insecure, more humble, let's call it insecure, but more humble, then I think like a trait of good entrepreneurs to be humble, and so.
Before we end our podcast, I know you are quite visible and like to get out there in the social media and spread, create a community and all of that. But what is something that we don't know about you? Yeah. What is something that usually people don't know about you?
Yeah. So I think many things, like on social media, you can control what you can promote. For me, social media, including LinkedIn, Instagram, is a great platform to reach a lot of people, to evangelize your ideas. And I really want to talk about entrepreneurship, the bad sides and the good sides. But at the same time, for me, social media is a way to log your life. Yeah. Again, I remember when I was at the university, it was a technology that you were wearing with a camera, and you were taking like one photo per day. It was like a life log kind of product. Yeah. But nowadays with Instagram and like LinkedIn, you can log your life. Imagine in 300 years, people will see this podcast maybe because everything will be available, right? And this amazing thing. Eventually, with all this content and all of this data, we'll be able maybe to create our own avatars that our kids, or the kids of our kids can discuss with us. Yeah. So that's one of the drives I also like to share content because are always there and available. And about myself, yes, as a person, I think I also have a lot of weaknesses, and it's something that I continuously try to improve. In my early days as an entrepreneur, let's say I was more confident, but after a lot of failures, I think I became more humble, and I think this is a trait I really respect and admire when people are humble. Yeah. And yes, in my personal life, currently I'm single. Yes, it's quite difficult as an entrepreneur to also
We
find
have a lot of
Yes.
female followers, so
Yes, you know, and again with technology, I think also, I mean, I have been using like dating apps. I think nowadays it's quite interesting to use technology as well for that part of your life. But the most important thing, and I believe that one of the reasons I'm currently single for some time, is that there's a lot of people that they're doing, like they're putting a lot of effort instead of searching, you know. And I think also in business and entrepreneurship, it's better to do more searching than doing, because if you find the right thing to do and put all of your effort, that's wise. But if you start doing something but it's not the right thing, you know, so there's always people say, okay, start doing. And I'm also a big believer of doing.
Yeah.
And that's our slogan and claim at Reflect is Doers United. However, you need to take a step back. You need to understand yourself, to self-reflect and see, okay, this is what I want in a person, in a partner, in business. And then once you have that, then put all of your effort there and start, you know, like doing and go all in.
it's important to know what you love and
Yeah.
love yourself first, because if you don't love yourself first, you cannot
Yes.
love someone else.
Yes,
So
that's let's say one thing of my personal life, and as a person I'm very transparent, you know, like I like to share things. I am not you know, like closed. And one of the things that many people don't know, just my good friends maybe, is that sometimes since my university years I rap
Really?
Wow.
in Greek. I'm better because it's my first language, and also in English,
Wow.
but I'm improvising. I'm not an amazing rapper, you know, like to, you know, like, but I'm rapping, I'm improvising.
Wow.
So when I was 20 years old, I was studying in London. All of my friends were coming to, you know, to my to the apartment in order to watch me rapping. They were giving me like topics, and I was rapping, and it was quite fun. I'm still doing it sometimes.
We're going to invite you back.
Usually rappers are in the black community, and we have Eminem
Yes,
and
exactly.
Stylianos.
The Cypriot rapper. But this is, I would say I'm not a good rapper in terms of like rapping,
Yeah.
but I'm good in improvising and connecting the words. And I think this is similarly what an entrepreneur does. It's all about finding the right points and connect them.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think I'm quite good.
So let's give a promise to each other.
Yeah.
Next time we're doing
Yes.
a podcast, we'll
Yeah.
start with you
Rapping,
rapping
yeah,
about
yes.
Cyprus, why it's the
Entrepreneurship, yeah.
best
Yes.
place to live,
Yes.
why entrepreneurship
Maybe we
is
can do a
important.
music video clip about
Yeah.
Cyprus. Why is the best? But you should rap as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 I will make the intro.
Yes. But anyway, I think like there's so many things about a person that you I don't even know maybe, and other people can tell you about me.
Yeah.
But yes, I really like meeting new people. I don't want to sound a bit arrogant, but I'm quite selective with which people I meet, because
Yeah.
also in the past when I was a young entrepreneur, I was meeting, you know, everyone for coffee.
Yeah.
And I think everyone should have the right judgment to select how they spend
Their
their
time,
time and meeting the right people. And I think energies are quite contagious. I mean,
Yeah.
they say that you're the average of the 5 people you hang out.
True.
And I think this is so true. And I will encourage everyone who wants to progress in his life to be around the right people. I was reading actually an article lately that the postal code also you grow up affects it's an indicator of success
Yes.
because of the environment, you know.
Yes.
And there's some areas, let's say in the US, that they're more, let's say, poor, or like there's high criminality, and eventually someone that grew up in that postal code, they will become criminals, you know.
Yeah.
So yes, and in Cyprus, okay, I think we were one postal code, but yeah, I mean, it's very important to be in the right environment, yeah, with the right people.
So to close the podcast, what is your number one value?
Yes, number one value. The number one value, I think, is to be a good person. But at the same time, you need to be also a dangerous person. I will explain that. I mean, Jordan Peterson, he's saying that. I also
Yeah.
met you at the Jordan Peterson's.
Yes.
Yes, I follow him. Okay, I don't agree in everything he says, but in that I really agree. I think you should always have good intentions, be a good person, but at the same time be dangerous, but don't use that use it when it's necessary, because this is also creates respect.
Yeah.
But whatever you do, I think it should be with good intentions. I mean, you shouldn't be evil. And it's the same idea that someone and you see like the best people like that they know martial arts. Also in Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi, he was really dangerous. He knew like karate, but he was a very good person.
Yeah.
And I think my main value is to be like Miyagi in my personal life, but also in my business life. That you're a good person with the right intentions. That you want also to teach, the next generation about entrepreneurship in my case, not karate, but at the same time be like strong and support and respect your own values. I think
so
that's
in the video clip where you're gonna be rapping, you'll be dressed up like Miyagi.
Yes.
I think it's gonna be the first
but yes, I mean, this is something that actually I really love, like participating in podcasts, because this just came up, like, and I think this is a great example, like Mr. Miyagi, like for an entrepreneur, like be a good person, like also be able to teach the next generation, but at the same time be strong, be powerful, be influential in order to protect your values and your projects that will create impact. Because as an entrepreneur, there are a lot of stones thrown at you from different part of the society, even from the government, from everyone. So I think that's why Mr. Miyagi is the best. It symbolizes how an entrepreneur should be like.
So I'm not gonna ask you who is your role model. We know.
Actually, I have maybe in another podcast I will talk about also my role models. But
So thank you, Stylianos, for being with us
today.
today.
Thank you, guys. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you.